Welcome, baseball fans, to today's review of the American League Championship Series Game 3, Houston at New York, and the National League Championship Series Game 4, St. Louis at Washington. Before we get started, let me let out a big congratulations to the Washington Nationals on your National League pennant. Congratulations on your championship, on sweeping the Cardinals and bringing this one home for Washington. The National League pennant will fly high above Nationals Park for many years to come, and hopefully, and for Nationals fans, they're hoping that that will just be only overshadowed by a potential World Series championship. But for now, they own the National League pennant. Congratulations, Washington Nationals. So, let's go ahead and get started with a review, going in order of when the games played. The Yankees-Astros game went first, and this storyline of Game 3 for Houston at New York. We knew Cole was pitching Game 3. We knew Severino was pitching Game 3. We knew Severino was coming back from injury, and that while his first couple starts back from injury, while on short outings, were good, his starts since then in the final game of the regular season and the division series, and of course tonight against in the league series. When he had to go longer, he was far less effective. Garrett Cole, on the other hand, was as dominant as we have seen in the postseason. This guy, it's hard to say who's a better pitcher, Verlander or Cole. But what I can tell you is that he owned the Yankees. And like I put in my predictions for the series, both Cole starts, I absolutely fundamentally predict, are going to be Houston wins. And in this case, he did play a majority of the show here. I mean, he went 7 innings, so did Verlander, so ultimately it did come down to the bullpen, but the difference being that they already had that lead going into the 9th inning, and with their bullpen being lights out, they didn't have to worry about going to extra innings, whereas in Verlander's case, the Judge home run tied up the score, gave them a 2-run lead. The Ottavino pitch allowed them to tie the score 2-2, and the bullpen had to hold it off to the 11th inning. So Verlander played less of a factor in Game 2. Game 3, Cole was much more of a factor because they didn't go to extra innings. He also gave them length, he gave them depth, gave them dominance. Everything that Astros fans dream of. Goes 7 innings, 0 earned runs. Where does that sound familiar? Oh yeah, virtually every start he's had this postseason. 0 earned run average, 0 earned runs. And this time he throws in 7 strikeouts just for fun. The bullpen goes 1 2/3 innings, 1 earned run, 0 ERA. Phenomenal job. Bullpen. The pitching staff for Houston has been absolutely lights out during both Verlander and Cole starts. Not so much during Greinke's starts, but we'll deal with that tomorrow when it's a redo of Game 1 all over again, Tanaka and Greinke, but this time instead of Houston, they're doing it in New York, where Greinke is far less effective. And I remember telling you in my predictions, any game that Verlander and Cole start, 1,000% have Houston winning those games, whether they actually win the game or their bullpen just finishes off a phenomenal start. I've got 4 wins for Houston right there, and that's your series. The games that Verlander or Cole are not starting, i.e. Game 1, i.e. Game 5, Greinke's show, they're going to drop the game. I mean, Greinke had a better shot of winning in Game 1, but Tanaka was outright dominant. Greinke did a decent job, but not as good as Tanaka. This time, going into the game in New York, on the road in New York, Greinke is far less effective than in Houston. And it's going to be a no-brainer for the New York Yankees to take that one and get it back up to 2-2 going into Game 5. In which case, you're going to have Verlander back, and then we have an opportunity to send it back to Houston up 3-2, but we'll get into that in just a moment. On the flip side, in the pitching performance department, Luis Severino goes 97 pitches, 4.1 innings pitched, 4.15 ERA, gives up 2 runs, gets 6 strikeouts. The bullpen, outside of Ottavino, was everything he needed to be. 4.2 innings pitched, 0 earned runs between Green, Canley, Britton, and Sessa. Phenomenal job. It's a shame you had to use all those pitchers in all those games. The bullpen is getting taxed. How much can you really push them? You're getting length out of Verlander and out of Cole. They're going 7 innings deep. You're not having to use that down at bullpen as much. It keeps them fresher, keeps them better prepared. They have to go to a bullpen game or bail out a pitcher. You're not getting that in the New York rotation. But outside of Tanaka in Game 1, you had Paxton got pulled short. Pitches were all over the place. In this place, Severino starts awkward, gives up a couple earned runs early on, 2 home runs, 1 to Altuve, 1 to Reddick, down to 2-0 hole. Granted, he does settle down and then cruises through the rest of his starts. But here's the problem. You're going 4 1/3 innings pitched, not because he isn't doing a good job by that point, but because he's at 97 pitches. You're letting the Astros players ring him up and chase him out of the game. He wasn't going to go past 100 pitches. The Astros knew that. They worked the count. They kept long at bats. They got runners on. They did everything they had to do to chase him out of there nice and early and feast on the bullpen. Now, by feast on the bullpen, I mean Ottavino. 0 innings pitched, 20.25 ERA, 2 earned runs, 0 strikeouts. For a relief pitcher who has been one of the most dominant for the Yankees during regular season, he has been anything but in the postseason. Granted, he hasn't been facing too many batters, but the ones he has, he's been giving up runs. Are you kidding me? Gurriel, sac fly in the 7th, off of Ottavino, brings it up to 4-0 Astros. Now, given the fact that you got Garrett Cole on the mound, 2-0 is asking a lot. See Verlander. I mean, you're not going to give up a lot of runs there. Then with a 4-0 off the Gurriel sac fly, forget about it. You're just too deep in the hole. Even with Garrett Cole out after 7 innings, you got the 8th and the 9th. But you've also got a fresh, rested, ready to rock and roll Astros bullpen, which you got Smith, Harris, Ozuna going your final 2 innings. Smith giving up your 1 earned run on the Torres home run. It's 1 batter, 1 home run. It is what it is. Outside of it's also too little too late. It's 1 run. You've already got 4 on the board. Plus, you got Harris and Ozuna finishing off 1 2/3 inning pitch, 0 earned runs. This was just like the Verlander star, a pitching dominant performance by the Astros, regardless of the fact that Altuve and Reddick had home runs and Gurriel had 2 more on there. You didn't need a whole lot when you have Cole on the mound or Verlander on the mound, but they got out a couple home runs in there and a sac fly. Gave him a nice round 4-1 victory. Torres in the 8th inning, your Smith earned run. He gets a home run. He keeps it from being a shutout. Whatever difference that makes at this point in time. Yeah, I realize the whole shutout better storyline. I get it. As far as winning the game, it didn't mean much because only 1 run. They couldn't mount anything. Having said that, tonight was supposed to be Game 4. Right out in the Bronx, pushes it back to to Thursday with Game 5 on Friday. They lose that travel day. Then Game 6 if needed on Saturday in Houston. Game 7 if needed on Sunday in Houston. With that brings some interesting implications here because now that what would have been a bullpen game for potentially both teams in Game 4, now you reset your rotation. You go into tomorrow Greinke versus Tanaka. Then you've got Paxton versus Verlander all over again. Now, there's been conversation depending on how those two games play out, whether or not Houston decides to go to a bullpen deal for Game 6. Fundamentally, if you're up 3-2 going into Game 6 in Houston, why wouldn't you go all out blitzkrieg on these fellas and throw Garrett Cole on there on regular full 5 days rest and just end this thing? Put the Yankees out of their misery and move on to Washington. Now, if you're trying to save Cole for an inevitable Game 7 and take your chances with your bullpen, I respect the decision to have your ace in your pocket. I get that. But here's the thing. Verlander and Cole have been like your Schilling and Pedro Martinez tandem for the Boston Red Sox. They've been like the Kurt Schilling and Randy Johnson tandem of the Arizona Diamondbacks. They are dominant pitchers, they are lights out, and they have been doing nothing but delivering you wins. Albeit Verlander on short rest, laid an egg in Tampa. That aside, you got Cole and Verlander on normal rest. Why save Cole? Really? I mean, if he can't get the job done in Game 6, you've got Peacock, you've got a bunch of bullpen guys in which can get the job done for you. Peacock, he's just started during regular season. Throw him in there. If he doesn't last, keep on a short leash and use your bullpen, a nicely well-rested, well-stocked bullpen that can definitely be lights out, especially considering the fact the Yankees are going to most likely throw Severino in there again, and how else is he going to be doing? Since coming back from injury, he hasn't been that elite, dominant starting pitcher. So, having said that, like I said in the beginning, I pictured this to go 7 games. With this right now, it allows Houston to skip a game in which I had called they were going to lose. And with that potential automatic loss out of the picture for Houston, they can very well close us in 6 games. The only thing I'm going to put my stake on here is that Tanaka takes out Greinke in Game 4. Okay? Beyond that, I think it's going to be New York is going to have to figure out something to do against Verlander and Cole, because the only way to win this series, if you're a Yankees fan, is to figure out how to solve Verlander and Cole. Short of that, it's see you next season, Yankees. So, let me know what you think about what I think about the New York-Houston series in the comment section below. Let's go ahead and move on to the St. Louis-Washington series. In this series, I remember telling you in the preview, in the previous video, how Dakota Hudson did not do well in the division series, and I wasn't expecting much better in the Game 4. Meanwhile, you had Patrick Corbin, who was quite dominant against the Dodgers, coming in here expecting him to be lights out, and it was very much what I expected to be. Dakota Hudson goes 15 pitches before he's yanked. He has, I could swear it's the Major League record, but this is outright disgusting how high his ERA is. He goes .1 inning in a NLCS, a National League Championship game. Are you kidding me? St. Louis, you're about to get shut out and swept, and you can't give me something better than Dakota Hudson going one out. 1 out. Are you kidding me? I'm like, really? That's just painful for Cardinals fans. Oh my goodness. 108 ERA, giving up 4 earned runs, 0 strikeouts. And that, fundamentally, ladies and gentlemen, was the first inning. Rendon, sac fly, Soto, double, Rubles, single, Gomez, single, Turner, single, all small ball. Between horrible fielding from the Cardinals and bad pitching from the Cardinals, it was just a slaughter that ended with a 7-0 lead after the first inning. It was just the Washington Nationals schooled the Cardinals in that first inning. and left no shred of doubt that they were the champions. Now, they still had 8 innings of game to play. So, Patrick Corbin goes 5 innings, 6.75 ERA, gives up 4 runs over his 5 innings, 12 strikeouts. 12 strikeouts is a phenomenally great performance. You can't ask for much more than that. It's wonderful, especially in 5 innings. Excellent job, Corbin. Not so thrilled about the 4 earned runs, but let's go ahead and get into that. The Rainey Doolittle, Daniel Hudson combined after Corbin leaves the game. 4 innings, 0 runs, 2 strikeouts. In the first inning, as I mentioned, all those runs by Washington. In the 4th inning, Molina gets on the board, home run. In the 5th, Edmund ground out, Martinez double, allows St. Louis to get on the board and go, bringing up to 4-7. What would have been an absolutely disgusting 7-0 or 7-1 loss. They end up managing to save face a little bit by tacking on a few runs there, getting up to 4 runs. At the end of the day, the Washington is more or less just playing out the rest of the game. And honestly, from what I saw from the Cardinals, they were just trying to get the game over with too. Washington more or less racked up such a huge lead with Corbin dealing and their bullpen rocking and rolling. It was game over before it ever got going. Meanwhile, St. Louis is just like, after what I saw against Atlanta, to come in here and play such, respectfully Cardinals, such Bush League baseball was disgraceful for the Cardinals. Just outright disgraceful. Again, all due respect to Cardinals fans. It was just like, that had to be so painful to watch if you even watched it. On the flip side, congratulations to the Washington Nationals. For the first time in 50-year team history, the Washington Nationals are headed to the World Series. Congratulations, well done. Well done. Wonderful work. Expos came in the league as the Montreal Expos in 1969, moved to Washington in 2004. From Washington in 2004 to 2019, 50 years. This year was the first time they won a playoff series. On top of that, they topped that by winning the Pennant for the first time ever. What's next? Can you go up against New York or Houston and bring that World Series championship back to Washington? We'll find out. I will do a bracket update once the New York-Houston series is over so that I can give you my breakdown of the pitchers, the matchups, the predictions, all that fun jazz. At this point in time, knowing that Houston's up 2-1 and they've got Verlander and Cole going for a second round each, and I called that Houston was going to win 7 games in the first place, let's just say for sake of argument that it was Washington traveling to Houston for the World Series. Then you've got Greinke, Verlander, Cole versus your Anibal Sanchez, your Steven Strasburg, your Patrick Corbin, your Max Scherzer. You've got tremendous depth. 4 high-quality pitchers, starting pitchers for Washington versus 2 elite, 1 good, and, 2 that can get the job done. Peacock and Greinke can get the job done if they're giving enough run support. Peacock could probably be lights out, and he was not a bad pitcher. I'm frankly surprised he was put in the bullpen for the ALCS. I get it for the division series, best of 5 between Greinke, Verlander, and Cole. Game over. I get that, but in a best of 7 series, I'm surprised Peacock wasn't one of their starting pitchers. I really am. Why were they going to put him He didn't do that badly during the regular season. He didn't. Having said that, if I'm going to put those 4 up against these 4, the starting pitchers alone are a favor to Washington. The lineup, respectfully, Nationals, it favors the Astros. I'll go into all that breakdown when we get to the review here. This series hasn't even ended, so that's all hypothetical conversation. But for the meantime, congratulations, Washington Nationals, on a well-deserved National League Championship. You are now World Series bound. Wonderful work. Unfortunately, because you're a wild card, you'll be on the road no matter what. But hey, you're in the World Series, baby, and that ain't nothing to shake a stick at. Awesome work. Great job. Congratulations. On the Houston versus New York, what was the battle of Titans has come down to how do you solve Verlander and Cole, is in my opinion. Let me know what you think about what I think about both series here. And I'll be happy to provide you playoff coverage for the remainder of this series as well as the World Series. In the meantime, if you just happen to be coming across this video on YouTube, please hit like and subscribe. It greatly helps the channel out. I appreciate all of you watching and all your support to this channel. Thank you for watching. Have a great night and enjoy the game tomorrow.